Hey friend, welcome to Better My Blueprint podcast, the podcast that's helping you to be a better you inside and out. I'm your host Alicia, and today we are in season 3, episode 1, where we'll be talking about how to overcome stress and anxiety. Now, I do have a recent episode, and I think like maybe season 2 or season 1, where I talked a little bit about anxiety and how I suffer from anxiety and etc. But I really want to dig deep and delve deep into stress and anxiety because those two play hand in hand when it comes to mental health, right? So before we get into it, welcome or welcome back. If you are familiar with this face and you're watching on YouTube, hi, hello. If you're listening on Spotify, what's up, y'all? I love you guys for still being on Spotify. But if you are not following us on all of our social media platforms, then I don't know what you're doing by now. We are on season 3. We're going to be on season 4 pretty soon. And I just don't understand how you're not following us and not having us as your favorite playlist on Spotify yet. So make sure you follow us on Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and download us and have us as your favorite audio to listen to on Spotify, okay? Also follow us on TikTok. I don't know if we're going to have TikTok forever, you guys, because I'm hearing one thing and hearing another. But until then, you can follow us on TikTok. We have a couple of little fun, little gimmicky looking videos on there. Like I told you, I still struggle with TikTok, so it's not going to look as beautiful and luxurious as other content creators, but I'm a podcaster, not a content creator, so what you get is what you get. Okay, follow us on TikTok, and then of course, if you are looking to be a guest, I know some of you have been reaching out to me and DMing me about how you could be a guest and how you love how all the guests I have on there and how they are great speakers and how they just say everything so fluently. I just want to let you know every guest that I had on my podcast so far, and I think it's only been 2 or 3. I believe it's been 2. They were a little bit nervous and they're not the best speech people, okay? And there's just regular people just like me, and they come on the podcast and talk about things that they are passionate about or that they have more information. Maybe they have credentials, maybe they were taught in school. It's really just regular conversations that we have. It's just we're on a screen in front of you. So if you want to be a guest, email us. Our email is located in our bio on Instagram. And you can email us your contact information so that we can reach out to you and send you all the different topics that we are open to talking about. Of course, you could send us topics that you are interested in speaking about. But just to let you know, if it's a topic that does not relate to our platform and our mission, then of course we will have to deny it. But that doesn't mean that we cannot still be partners in this whole podcasting world. We can always talk about something similar or something else that you are passionate about. So please email us. Let us know what you're interested in talking about. Let us know your schedule and any other contact information or business info that you will want us to shout out. Okay, we are looking for you. So make sure you guys come and be a guest on Better My Blueprint. This year is going by fast, so we have a long list of other people who want to be a guest. So if you want to get in on this schedule before the year is out, because I post every other Friday, then I suggest that you email us today while you're watching this video. Okay, matter of fact, just pause this video real quick. Trust and believe this is going to be a nice lengthy video. You will not miss anything. Go ahead and email us now with all of the information that we need so that we can hurry up and put you on the schedule. Okay, so today, we are talking about how to overcome stress and anxiety, and you guys know I have my little handy dandy binder with all of my information, all of my notes, all of my research, so that I can give you guys everything that's authentic and as honest and transparent as possible, okay? So, stress and anxiety, it can take a toll on our mental, our physical, and our emotional well-being, right? However, there are effective strategies that we can use to manage and overcome these challenges and strongholds. And I'm going to give you some effective strategies and, little tidbits on how I am overcoming stress and anxiety any topic that I've ever went over with you guys on any episode in any season, it's always something that I might be currently going through now, something I finally was able to master, or something that I'm going to go through. I'm never the type of person to say, oh yeah, I'm perfect, I don't go through these things and I know everything. No, all of this information that I get is from experience, from other people's experiences that I've witnessed, or from just research based off maybe my degree, maybe based off, something that someone else has gone through that they have explained to me, or things that I have noticed with other people or other things. So any information, any type of information I give y'all, you can access it. Google is free. A lot of databases are free, especially if you are in school, so you could search through the databases. And I'm pretty sure a lot of things that I have gone over and spoke about, you guys have gone through it in your own trials and tribulations. So you will know a little bit of what I'm talking about, or you might be new to this. Okay, so let's get into it. First and foremost, overcoming stress and anxiety mentally. And the reason why I want to go through the mind first, because a lot of us physically are strong, or we look good on the outside. And one thing I've noticed with being a woman who believes in Christ and believes in God is that the devil has a tendency to always target the mind first. He knows that he doesn't have that much power to really sabotage you physically, or get in control of your money, or get in control of your spiritual well-being. But he knows that if there's one thing he can do is get in your head. And so I want to talk about mentally, in your mind, in your emotions first, before I go into physical, financial, or any other way that stress and anxiety can be overcome. Okay. The first thing with overcoming stress and anxiety mentally is practicing meditation and deep breathing exercises. Now, I've said on my other anxiety episode that every person who truly either was diagnosed or actually goes through actual anxiety, and not people who just want to sing that little anxiety song by Doechii, and now it's a trend to have anxiety, which blows my mind. But not those kind of people. I'm talking about the real deal people who actually go through different types of anxiety. We know that we hate being told to breathe. Especially women. I believe that it just triggers us so much because we are breathing. We promise to you that we are trying to breathe. But if you have severe anxiety like I do, or like I did, because I've gotten better with it. But if you do, you know that breathing is hard when you are already overstimulated and you're already overwhelmed and you are stressed out already, and your mind has already won when it comes to any negative thoughts in your mind and things like that. So breathing is going to be hard, but finding what works for you when it comes to breathing and meditation is going to be something that will help you to get by stress and anxiety a little bit easier. Okay. And so now some people don't believe in meditation and yoga and all of that. And I still don't know how I feel about Pilates, yoga, and all those other things that a lot of people are doing now as a trend. But I know praying is, in a sense, a form of meditation, sitting by yourself and just having deep breath, like minutes and things like that. Sometimes when I used to not be scared to go to my backyard, because, a little side note, I live in Texas and they have the most horrifying looking spiders. And once it gets like spring, summer, which is now, and you go outside, those beautiful yellow, brown, green, purple, orange spiders decide to come out and play. And I just don't play around with that. But back then, when it used to be very cold and snowed outside and it was winter time, I used to love going outside in the backyard and just being by myself, sitting in my little chair and just breathing and taking in what's around me. So whatever works for you with your breathing tactics, I say go for it. Don't let anyone rush you in your meditation and your breathing. It's up to you to find the ability to understand, okay, I need to breathe. In order for me to stop hyperventilating, in order for my head to stop hurting, in order for me to stop shaking and being jittery, I need to first take a woosah in and breathe out, right? The next thing is learn to observe your thoughts without judgment. What I mean by that is understanding what you're thinking, what is What is triggering you in your mind to cause that anxiety attack, to cause you to panic, to cause you to get to that point where you're like, okay, I'm agitated, my anxiety is flaring, something is bothering me. And then, of course, not judging yourself about it. We all go through our share of different things that just for some reason just tries to have control over our mind. So make sure that you observe it, pay attention to what triggers you, and understand that just because they're your thoughts doesn't mean that they are honest thoughts. Sometimes they're just thoughts that the devil likes to just, throw little things in your ear to distract you, to push you back, to hurt your feelings, to stop you from where God needs to take you, right? And the last thing with overcoming stress and anxiety mentally is cultivate present moment awareness. Now, you see how I said earlier that in the wintertime, I used to like to go outside in my backyard, sit in my chair, and take in where I am. I think a lot of us, because we live in the fast world of social media and you got to get it, you got to get it, and you got to do this and you got to do that sometimes we don't stop and smell the roses. And I've mentioned this in other episodes plenty of times, especially in my anxiety episode. But actually sitting down and taking in where you are and being grateful for your surroundings, taking in, breathing in the flowers and watching the butterflies. And as corny as it sounds, when you have anxiety, it actually helps. Like once you start paying attention to what's around you, touching things, acknowledging different things, it helps you to get out of your own head, and it helps you to understand, okay, I'm here, I'm real, this is happening, I'm okay, let's move on. Okay, so next, refrain from negative thoughts and patterns. Okay, now this is easier said than done, because if you are an overthinker like me, and if you deal with really bad general anxiety, all that's going in your mind is negative thoughts. However, like I told you, it's a mind thing. It's up to you to say that this is not true. It's up to you to observe and understand, okay, the only reason why I feel this way is because that person did that or said that to me, or their tone made me feel like I was a bother or like I was a burden, or whatever the case is, right? So first, we're identifying and challenging the irrational and catastrophic thinking, right? So first, identify, this thought came from here. This is why I feel this way, right? And then challenge yourself, right, to think the opposite of how bad you're thinking. Like us as humans, we think the worst of everything. Like no matter how positive you may think you are, we as people can think the worst of situations and of people and of ourselves. And it's very hard to challenge ourselves to think the opposite. And I'm pretty sure you can use the I forgot what I called it, but it was a table that I used in the beginning seasons, where you substitute your bad habits, right? I think it was a bad habit tracker or something like that. You could use that same habit tracker for your bad thoughts. Every bad thought that you use or that you think of, try to find the opposite of that. And I feel like that will help you to challenge your mind to think more positive of yourself, of people, of your surroundings, of different situations that are going on in your mind, right? Next is replace self-doubt with self-compassion. I can have a tendency of doubting like what I'm capable of. Like I doubt myself a lot when it comes to different things. And then the outcome is always beautiful. I'm always doing exactly what other people see in me, but I don't see in myself. For example, I just hosted, coordinated, and decorated a wedding for a cousin-in-law, for my boyfriend's cousin. And, I've been doing events, been doing weddings for years. And of course, a lot of them, I was always chaperoned by my mentor. So like if I ever had an issue, if I ever messed up, I can always turn to her. But only a good couple of years that I finally were by myself and didn't really have that help from my mentor. And this wedding was kind of my very first big girl event that I've done, because every other event is like birthdays for friends, baby showers, gender reveals for family members. But this one was actual. I mean, even though I was booked from a family member, this was my first time actually showing what I'm capable of. And the whole months that were passing by of me preparing and like coming up with my list and coming up with the itinerary for the bride and all this other stuff, I still was saying, oh, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I'm strong enough. I don't think they're going to take me serious. I don't think that I'm going to bring the bride's vision to life. How can I do this? I don't even have this. I don't have that. And even though I have a license to be an event planner or a certificate, I've gone to school for many years and got my AA in hospitality, tourism, and event management. I've gone through every type of, educational training, mentorships, all of that. I've gone through it all where I know what I'm doing. But because I'm an overthinker, because I get stressed out easily and a lot, and because I do suffer from anxiety, I have a tendency to tell myself that I can't do it. And so you want to change that with self-compassion. Have some compassion for yourself. Acknowledge the fact that, okay, it's not going to be perfect how this wedding comes out, but as long as I do it to the best of my ability, it's going to come out based off my best. And, it always says in the Bible how God wants our first and our best. And I feel like that should be not only for him, but for everything you do in life. As long as you give your first and your best, if that's the best you can do, then hey, I mean, it might come out good, it might come out bad, but it doesn't make you less than who you think you are. And also, get out of your own head. Like, if you know that you have you know what you're doing, you know that you have the credentials and the certifications and the licensing to do this, you have the background, you have the experience, then do what you know and don't try to do anything you don't know how to do, right? Next, what we're going to talk about is focus on what you can control and not what you can't control. I'm going to use the wedding since it recently happened, and that's where I can get better examples from. But the wedding just happened Friday, right? Which was, I think that was Good Friday, right before Easter. And when I tell you, the decorations came out beautiful, and I'm going to show you guys a clip in the video if you're watching on YouTube, but decorations came out beautiful. It was very elegant, very classy, very simple, which is what the bride and groom wanted. And I feel like it was really nice as of picture wise, but in the midst of doing the decorations, of the coordinating, the hosting, and making sure everybody's in their place and making sure people are behaving, making sure that no one's taking too much advantage of the open bar, and just making sure that things go smoothly so the bride and groom won't have to sweat too much. It didn't go that way for me. Everything kind of went a little mayhem, and a lot of it was because of miscommunication. And then of course a lot of it is the fact that I look like I know I probably look like a grown woman right now because I have on makeup and my hair is done, but I kind of have this, I don't know, in my head, I just think that people don't take me as serious because I look young. I look like I'm still in high school at some point. I don't, and this is a little side note, but I kind of want to change how I dress and how I look. Because I want to look, not that I want to look older, because I love this young face. I want to keep it for the rest of my life, but I want to look more presentable, authoritative, and of course it's not always about how you look, it's about your tone. But anyway, it didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but at the end of the day, the bride and groom got married and they were happy. However, in my head, I like to have control, and when anything comes out of nowhere, out of the ordinary, out of the timeline that we went over, I get stressed out. My anxiety was through the roof that day. When I say panic attack after panic attack after panic attack, the only people that knew that I was tripping out was probably my boyfriend, because he was a photographer and he also helped me decorate and set up. And then of course the DJ's wife that was there, she was very helpful, helping me get through it, constantly giving me encouragement as I was going through it. But she noticed, especially in the bathroom, she noticed that I was stressed. I had to go in the bathroom and get dressed, and I was so stressed out because times were changing, people were doing things they weren't supposed to, and it was a lot of chaos in the middle of the most beautiful wedding that you've probably ever seen. And I salute every other person, including myself and my boyfriend, who are the type of people who rather work behind the scenes and get things done and deal with the stress and the mayhem while everybody else is having a good time, getting drunk, getting lit, throwing the bouquet and catching the garter, like all of that. I salute you as well as myself, because it's hard working behind the scenes, because you deal with every bad idea, every bad news, every mistake, and every issue. I was trying my best to have control of each situation, and with me forcing myself to try to take control of things I couldn't control, it put me in a situation where I didn't have as much of a good time as I wish I had, because I was so busy thinking about, man, this didn't work out. I wish that this would have happened. Oh my gosh, this came out wrong. Like, for example, the doggone air condition. I personally feel like the venue turned the air condition off so that the staff can have really good air conditioning inside the staff room that was locked. But that's just my theory, and we're just gonna take it there, right? So with that, the ceremony room, which was also the room that they had the wedding and the reception, the reception. That's what it's called. Anyway, I think that's what it's called. It was hot as I don't know what in there. It was hotter than Satan's toenails. When I say hot, y'all, I mean everybody and their mama was sweating their wigs, including me, sweating their makeup off, even though they were drunk, so they didn't care. But I'm sober. I don't drink alcohol. So I am feeling everything. The groom was like a little angry, not at me, but of course at the venue, because it's hot and he doesn't like to be hot. And that was like one of the number one requests. They were like, make sure that it's not hot. And yet, here I go. Everything's coming out well. I'm getting dressed, come back into the ceremony room. It's pissing hot outside as well as inside. And I'm just like, okay, what's going on? What can I do? And I'm constantly bothering the staff, like, can we turn the air down? And they're like, this is the lowest it can go. And I'm over here freaking out. Everybody's coming in and they're like, it's hot, it's burning hot. We end up having to push back like an hour or two of the wedding. So people are sitting in there in the heat. I say all this to say, I could not control the temperature, okay? Even though in a sense you can, because you could just change the thermometer. But it was locked and they wouldn't let me have access to it. So I couldn't have control of changing the temperature in there. And it resulted in being hot for the rest of the ceremony. We didn't get out of there till 1 a.m. So I was stressed, okay? But that taught me that, some things you just can't control. And instead of sitting there dwelling in the fact that you can't control that situation, move on and do what you can, okay? Have, authority over what you can control, okay? So don't try to control things you can't control. It's just going to flare up your anxiety and your stress even more. Next, seek professional support. I'm going to always say go to therapy, y'all. I think I say that literally in every episode. Go to therapy. I promise it's not a ruse. It actually helps, especially if you go to a therapist that actually care, and a therapist that can relate to you on a background level, a therapist who can relate to you on a genetic level, person who can relate to you on a, being a black person, being a woman. Like, if I'm a woman and I'm a black woman, I'm going to try to find a black woman. I'm sorry. Like, not anything against white women or Caucasian women, and not anything against men. But I know if she can't relate to anything else, she can relate to some things with me. So finding someone who you can relate to and who can relate to you is always a better choice when it comes to therapy, right? So consider cognitive behavioral therapy, which focuses on how thoughts and feelings are connected. A lot of therapists, they study, CBT, and you can do different tactics with them, and they'll do different tactics with you, so that you can focus on your thinking and your emotions and figure out how things connect, right? So sometimes doing the cognitive behavioral therapy is really good. There's some who just specialize in that, and there's some who specialize in all things, including that. So do your own research and see if that will help you, because maybe you're thinking this because of emotions from traumatic past that has happened to you. Sometimes that's this case. So it's always good to go to a therapist, a professional who knows what they're doing, so that they can do the CBT with you. Next is work with a licensed therapist and counselor. Like I said, go to a therapist. I used to use BetterHelp. I'm probably going to go back to using BetterHelp. Like, your pastors go to therapy. You're the most perfect person in the world, who you consider the most perfect person, goes to therapy. Jesus, when he was on this earth, he did not go to therapy, but he went to other wise counsel. Even though he was one of the wisest men on earth, he went to other wise counsel as well. He went to his mother for advice. He went to some of his closest friends and disciples for advice and things. So if the most strongest, powerful being in the universe has to go to wise counsel, then what makes you think that you don't need therapy? Make it make sense. And don't use the excuse that you can't afford it, because they take insurance. And a lot of insurance out there in America makes your payment be very low. Some people pay $0 a month for, therapy because their insurance covers. Some people pay $9. Some people pay $20. Some people pay $60, and some people pay more. It's just up to your insurance. And if you know that you really genuinely want to do therapy, find these different online therapists that have like discounts and sales for different events and things like that, especially Mental Health Month. I don't remember when Mental Health Month is. I want to say it's May, but it could be June. So I don't know. And I'll have it in the description which day it is. But I know Mental Health Month is one of the cheapest months to find really big sales to start your therapy. So look into that. Okay. Next is we're going to talk about overcoming stress and anxiety spiritually, right? So y'all know I love to take it back to the Bible. I love going back in the Bible and finding different things that people have gone through that I talk about today. People be thinking, I can't relate to the Christians. I can't relate to Jesus and God. I can't relate to the Bible. But that just lets me know that you don't read the Bible. Because if you did, you would know that there's a lot of mess that goes on, that went on back in the day, even before Jesus stepped foot on this earth, that relates to times and topics and situations and trials and tribulations now as of 2025. Okay. So with overcoming your stress and anxiety spiritually, first, you want to nurture your spiritual connection, right? Engaging in prayer and reflection. I used to have a journal. I don't journal like that anymore because I'd just be too busy, which is no excuse. I need to start journaling again. But I used to have a journal where I would reflect on different things that have happened in my life. Sometimes I put it in the notes in my phone because I can't find my journal sometimes. And I would write down why I felt this way, how it made me feel, who that person was that I got into it with, and what I plan to do about the situation, the topic, what they did, and what's the right thing to do and all that stuff. And they teach you that in therapy with journaling. But engaging in prayer is a big one. I feel like if you really want a true stress reliever and overcoming anxiety, praying helps you breathe deeper and better. Praying helps you slow down. Praying helps you to take a beat. And talking to God, because he's the only one that can really give you that wise counsel that you need to tell you what to do next, what to stop doing, what is causing this, if it's trauma from the past, if it's due to the abuse you dealt with in a relationship, if it's due to grief and loss, if it's something that happened 10 years ago that maybe a therapist can't figure out because they don't know, because you don't open up about it. But God can tell you, when your dad did this 10 years ago, now it's starting to resurface for you now. And that's why you're so stressed out. That's why you're an overworker. That's why you're messy. That's why you want to be overly controlling, or you want to do this or want to do that. So reflecting, having that conversation with God, writing down your thoughts and feelings and emotions, I feel like is the best way when it comes to overcoming stress and anxiety spiritually. Next, of course, exploring the teachings of your faith or belief system. Now, like I said, I am Christian, I guess. I try my best not to be too religious, because religion is what killed Jesus. The people who were so much invested in the laws and regulations, they were too stubborn and prideful to acknowledge the fact that Jesus was right in front of them, and that he just wanted to love them and get them away from sin. So I try my best not to be too religious, and I don't like to say I'm spiritual because spirits, I don't like to play around with that. But I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe he died on the cross for me and rose on the third day and ascended to the right hand of the Father. I believe that he is the way, the truth, the life. I believe that he can give me living water and sprout up, fruitful things inside of me. I believe that he has risen. I believe that he forgave me for my sins. And so with that, I believe going to Bible study is important, doing your own research, having your own Bible study, and even sometimes finding books to give you more clarity on your specific spiritual belief or religion is really good with helping how to manage stress within that community. The next thing, of course, is finding comfort and guidance in your worship, fellowship, and community. Now, depending on who you believe in and what you believe in and what the specific religion that you are based in, that what they do when they fellowship and when they worship together will help you to calm down the levels of anxiety and stress. I promise you, every Sunday feels like a rechargeable battery for me, because every time I come back on Sundays to my church, I feel like the message always relates to what I'm going through, and it helps me. And it's not just telling me what I'm doing wrong, but it's also like, yes, it's convicting me in the Holy Spirit, and that's what the Holy Spirit is there for, as well as a comforter. But it also, being there helps me to understand that God doesn't want me to be perfect. He doesn't want me to be strong. He just wants me to be with him. That's all that matters. And that helps me. I mean, worshiping, I tell you, if you're ever in Dallas, Texas, going to Flow Church in McKinney, Texas, I promise you, it's a different experience than I've ever experienced. And I've been in church since 6-7 years old. But just to be able to hear the different people singing around me, to feel the Holy Spirit hugging each and every one of us together, and to fellowship with people in my church, it really does relieve a lot of stress for me and a lot of anxiety that I have through the week. Now, of course, your Sunday shouldn't just be your only rechargeable day, because you're going to run empty each and every Saturday if you do that. But, throughout the week, praying, reading your Bible, going to Bible study, spending time with your community and your peers that are in church is always a good way to help relieve your stress, and kind of helps you to tone down what you think you're doing wrong. You're so busy just having a good time with people who love God that you don't even be focused on the things you didn't do, the mistakes you made, your past, what that person did to you, etc. Right? So, with overcoming your stress and anxiety spiritually, I want you to practice gratitude and acceptance. Okay. I think I've mentioned in my last episode or the episode before about practicing gratitude, being grateful for what you have and what you're doing and where you are, and just being grateful that God did all the work for you, really, and it's just, of course, practicing acceptance. So when keeping a gratitude journal, I believe that it can shift your mindset. It can help you to see things from a different point of view instead of always seeing it from that negative mind, right? And, learning to accept what is outside of your control really helps you to move on faster. And I don't expect you to move on, like, say if someone passed away and people would tell you to move on, or say you failed this big exam to become a lawyer, or whatever the case is, something big, right? I'm not telling you just move on, because you have to heal, you have to understand, you have to go through things, you have to go through your own journey. But at the same time, I feel like accepting what happened, but actually putting yourself in a situation to say, okay, this happened. This is how I feel. I don't like how I feel, or I feel okay. Where do we go from here? And let me just accept the fact that this happened and it's okay. I feel like accepting, and so a lot of people are like, well, you're accepting defeat, or you're accepting rejection, or you're accepting all these other things. But it's like, I'd rather accept it and move on than sit here and be in the past for the rest of my life. While everyone else is pushing forward to 2025, 2026 and more, I'm still stuck in 2019 when I had my first heartbreak, or 2017 when I've had my first heartbreak, or whatever the case is. It's time to move on, because if you stay stagnant, your bones will go dry, and we don't want that, okay? We do not want that at all. The whole point is to keep flowing, and that's the name of my church. It's called Flow Church. But the whole purpose that God wants us to do is to keep flowing through him, right? So with that, cultivate a sense of purpose and meaning. And I mentioned that, and I think in my hobby episode or something, but finding your purpose, which is great when talking to God and praying and going to church, and finding your meaning will help you to understand that life is not perfect. And yeah, there are going to be times where you're angry, mad, upset. There are going to be times where you might be even a little stressed, but understanding that this is not the end and that this is just the start of your journey. Embrace the power of forgiveness. I mentioned this before in one of my episodes, and a lot of this information I've already mentioned. It's just said in different ways, and it's great how a lot of what I said in my other episodes actually ties together all in general. But I mean, the whole point is to better your blueprint, right? So, embracing the power of forgiveness. Let go of resentment towards yourself and others. And the reason why I say yourself first, because we can be very angry and punish ourselves a lot when things go mayhem, when we make mistakes, when we hurt the people that we love, when we do dumb things, when we do stupid things that we know better, but we still do it anyway. Forgive yourself. Let go of that resentment of what you have done to others or done to yourself. Maybe you did push yourself back. Maybe you did cost yourself more money. Maybe you did put yourself in deeper debt because of a mistake and a choice and an idea that you may have had. But guess what? The life still goes on. You still got to keep pushing. Learn from that fall and how hard that fall was, and you keep moving, as well as letting go of resentment and forgiving others, because at the end of the day, God forgives us all day, every day, okay? Because we mess up every second of the day. Every nanosecond of the day, there is someone who believes in God or even don't believe in God that is sinning, making mistakes, doing dumb things, making bad decisions, making bad choices, okay? And it doesn't make you a bad person, depending on what you're doing, because if you're killing people and all of that, then I don't know about that. But it doesn't make you a bad person. It's just you're human. that's what being human is. You're gonna make mistakes. You are going to laugh. You're going to cry. You're going to be upset. You are going to maybe even push yourself 5 steps back, but then you'll come right back when you're walking with God 10 steps forward. Okay. And then of course, forgive those who hurt you because God forgave you. Like I said, there's a lot of people who have hurt me in my past, and like I told you guys in one of the episodes, I was a very angry child because of the things that I've gone through in my life. And I had to learn that who am I to be angry at somebody for what they've done to me when I've done things you can't even speak of to people. When I was angry, when I was upset, when I was hurt. When you're hurt, you'll do some real nasty things to people, especially when it revolves around your heart, when it revolves around a relationship title, when it revolves around money. You'll do anything to hurt and backstab and piss off and upset someone else if they did it to you. And I had to learn that God forgives us every day. He forgives murderers. He forgives rapists. He forgives thieves. He forgives people who are sexually ill. He forgives us each and every single day. And yet he still forgives us, 70 times 7 or 7 times 70 a day. He still does what needs to be done so that we can live a life of abundance, right? He still sheds his blood, and every time we sin, it's almost like he's back on that cross again. But he forgives us. So who am I to not forgive those who have hurt me? Those who have done petty things out of anger. Sometimes we can't control our emotions, and that doesn't make you weak. It just makes you human. So I had to realize that, okay, first and foremost, God forgives me, so I need to forgive this person. And secondly, we're human. We all make mistakes. None of us is perfect. No one's walking around knowing everything. No one's walking around never making a mistake in their life. We all make mistakes. So forgive people. It helps your stress levels. It helps your anxiety goes down. It takes off that weight on your back. And then, of course, extend forgiveness for your own mistakes. Next, we're going to go over overcoming stress and anxiety physically. Prioritizing self-care habits. I mentioned self-care a lot. I think a lot of my demonstrations and little graphs and stuff I make for the podcast has a lot to do with self-care. And I like I told y'all, I'm not talking about self-care, getting your nails done, getting your hair done, going to get a haircut. Like, no. I'm talking about self-care of actually taking care of what's inside so that the outside can shine. Bettering your actual blueprint. Those who don't know, a blueprint is the structure of the inside of a building, the inside of a center or a house or whatever the case is. So you are drawing a map and creating the blueprint of the inside and fixing things in the inside so that when you create the outside, it is beautiful, it's well structured, and all of that. And that's one of the reasons why I chose the name of that podcast for the podcast. So taking care of your insides, taking care of you, right? When it comes to prioritizing self-care habits, maintaining a healthy sleep routine. People think that not getting sleep is just so fun and trendy and it's a new thing. And I know that people in my generation, that graduated 2017, 2018, 2019, around there, I know that we had a tendency of what we call vamping, where we stay up all night being on the phone with your boo thing or your friends, or just being up all night on Vine or watching YouTube or whatever, playing video games, and you're just up all night. And then when you wake up the next day, you're exhausted, you're tired, you are depressed, you are just not feeling up for the day, right? I think that finding a very healthy sleep routine is going to be your best friend with prioritizing your fixing and overcoming your stress and anxiety. The less sleep you get, the more anxious you get. The less sleep you get, the more that your body has to burn and do so that you can actually be able to live and get through the day. And the more work you put on your body, the more stressful it is, the more stressed it is. So finding a healthy routine and actually getting sleep, actually resting, is going to be your best friend. Next, of course, engage in regular exercise and movement. Now, even as of now, I have people out my window walking around the neighborhood. And every now and then, me and my dog will go walking. Or I'll go exercise with my boyfriend at LA Fitness. Or I'll go and do Hot Girls Pilates, or whatever the case is. A lot of people don't notice, but even though you might hate exercising or hate doing anything that involves movement, it actually helps lower your cortisol levels, which is one of the things that tackles your anxiety and your stress. When your cortisol levels are high, you have more of a moon face and your body is just super, super stressed out, right? So moving, exercising, sweating, even if you're doing Zumba or dancing, like I used to do Zumba with my sister and my cousin, my older cousin, and we used to just do Zumba in the living room, or we used to play Wii Fit and Wii Fitness, and we used to play Just Dance. And even though we were young kids and we probably didn't stress as much as we probably do now as adults, we still went through different things, loss and grief and just stupid stuff that kids go through in high school, middle school, and elementary. So doing that movement, keeping our body moving, was a great tactic to help us to manage our stress and our anxiety. And then, of course, eat a balanced and nutrition-rich diet. For example, in the summer, June and July, I will be taking a break from recording and posting for my podcast, which I know, very sad, because you're like, oh, we got to go 2 months without not listening to you. Like, some of you are probably like, yay, and some of you are like, why? But I need that. I need my summer, okay? I've given you guys from August all the way until now in April and a little bit of May. I deserve 2 months, okay? So with saying that, June and July, I'm doing a vegetarian fast. Fast as in it's not going to last forever, because I love steak and a little bit of chicken, but I'm a beef eater. I love steak and dark meat, and so it's going to be hard, but I'm going to do a vegetarian fast. A lot of it has to do with, medicinal reasons. I just want to be healthier. I want my skin to be even more glowy than it is now. I want my hair to grow more healthy and more silky. I want to lose and shred a lot of weight. And, I just want to prepare myself, my body for motherhood in the future when I'm ready to have kids. And I just don't want any complications and issues, even though, there's things you can't control. But I just want to be healthier and feel my best. So I'm going to take 2 months, June and July, the full June, the full July, where I am going to go on a vegetarian fast, where all I will be eating is everything that vegetarians eat. No meat. Of course, I'll still get my protein in with nuts and other things, other fruits and vegetables, but I'm sticking to a vegetarian diet. And I think that going on a fast, some people do intermediate fasting, some people do actual fasting. There's the Daniel fast, the David fast, all these different fasts that you can do, and different diet options that you can do. Mediterranean is really good, especially for women with PCOS. Some people just do a no sugar diet. It's all kinds of different diets that you can do, but honestly, choosing one is probably your best bet instead of just eating Wendy's burgers and McDonald's and Panda Express and Chick-fil-A for the rest of your life. Because I promise you, this American food that they're feeding us is not benefiting us. We are not as satisfied as we really think we are. Because I literally went on a cruise for my boyfriend's birthday in January a couple years back, and we went to Honduras and Belize and all those other places. I think we went to Cozumel, Mexico, or something like that too. It was like a 7 or 8 day cruise, which is a whole nother story in itself, because 8 days on a boat sounds crazy, sounds very ludicrous. But we went all the way out there, and when I say the food, the spices, the herbs, even like fruit punch tastes different over there. It really tastes more fulfilling, and that lets me know that American food is not good for you. And I mean, I already know that, but it really shows. Like, the proof is really in the pudding. So finding those herbalists that sell things, finding those farmers if you're near farmers, finding the better stores that serve more authentic and more nutrition rich like food to help you diet is a great way to relieve your stress. Because little do you know, a lot of food and drinks and sweets actually, it plays hand in hand with having your anxiety be really bad, having your stress be bad. Dark chocolate is great, especially for women. It's a great thing to eat. Cacao, all of that, it's great. But then when you start going into the things that are made in the factories, like milk chocolate, white chocolate, all that other stuff that is genetically modified, sometimes it can cause inflammation in your body, which causes your body to work even harder, which causes your cortisol levels to go up, which causes you to be stressed the heck out, and to cause your anxiety to flare up out of nowhere over something so small as a child running across the street. So taking care of your body in the inside, eating the right things, exercising, meditating, all of that plays hand in hand with overcoming your stress and overcoming anxiety. Now, I'm going to repeat this. I still suffer with a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. I'm not perfect. I'm not telling you that I have overcame this. I'm telling you that these are things that I know for other people who have overcome it, and research that I've done myself that says that this plays a really good hand in being stressless and being stress-free and being, more joyful and feeling that abundance that God's promised us, instead of feeling all that anxiety and depression and stress, right? So, with that being said, manage physical symptoms, right? Practice relaxation techniques, whatever that relaxes you, that is productive and positive. Practice those techniques to help relax your body, especially when it's time to wind down before you go to bed. Explore alternative therapies. There's massagings, there's spas, there are cuppings, there's acupuncture. When I got into a car accident last year in November, and it caused me to have a mild concussion. And when I went to the chiropractor to get, healed, or whatever you want to call it, I've tried cupping. I ran from acupuncture. And, I feel like for some people it could help them. I mean, for me, I think I was just too stressed out from the needles and everything that I couldn't really take advantage of it like others would. But it could probably help someone else. So taking advantage of those different alternatives of, therapy is good as well, especially if you just don't want to go to a therapist and talk to them. Maybe you want to just go to a massage place or a spa and do that first as a first step. And there's nothing wrong with that. Seek medical assistance for constant issues as well. If something keeps coming up with your body, your back keeps hurting, you keep having migraines. Like, there's people who have tumors and don't even know they have tumors. There's people who have sciatica or different issues in their body that when your body is constantly going through a pain in the same area, it's trying to warn you that something's wrong. that something you've done, something you've ate, or something you were exposed to is causing your body to retract. So going and seeking a doctor, going and getting your body checked annually is very important, and it will help lower your stress levels. Now, of course, that medical bill you get ain't gonna help. It's probably gonna make it go up. But that's why it's good to have insurance, and that's why it's good to not live in America. So I'm all for people moving the heck out, okay? Because here, medical insurance is just crazy, okay? After that, incorporate stress reducing activities, engaging in hobbies and leisure activities you enjoy. Like I said, the spa. I love doing like DIY things. I love going to jazz lounges or even listening to jazz and classical music. A lot of that helps me. I believe it's down here somewhere. I have an anxiety book that I use, and every time I'm stressed out, I literally just color. And even though for some people, they look at these different pages I have and be like, oh my gosh, that's too much to do. Like, that's not going to help my anxiety. But honestly, it really helps me. It keeps my mind busy, and it helps me to get out of my mind. So, I like to color as an activity that helps. Maybe like my boyfriend, he likes to play video games when he's stressed out, when he's going through it, or when he's had a crazy rough day. That's his version of relaxing. Whatever helps you, take advantage of that while you have it now, okay? And of course, spend time in nature or loved ones or both. Like I said, I like to go outside during the winter time to sit down, smell the roses, and just breathe and listen to the air whoosh in my ear. Like, that relaxes me. I like to listen to jazz music while I'm cleaning up. I like to watch funny YouTube videos. I'm a comedy girl as well as like a horror girl, but I'm a comedy girl. I like to laugh, and it just really helps me to calm down and get out of my own mind. And then, of course, spend time with your loved ones. Honestly, my happy hormones are always through the roof every time I see my family and my friends and my in-laws. It just makes me feel so good inside. It makes me forget that I even had issues and problems. I told my sister, my god sister, that every time I see them, they heal a part of me. And that is the truest thing I've probably ever said in my life, because just seeing them, especially because I don't see them every day, it genuinely makes me feel good. So spending time with your loved ones, spending time outside, go to the park, go for a walk, go do a picnic, go on a hot girl walk, whatever the case is, as long as you're safe and in a good neighborhood, which is rare for some, go and do it while you can. Take advantage of that now while you're young, while you can move around, while you have all your limbs, while you can say that you could jump up and down, do cartwheels and all that. Go and take advantage of the outside. Go and take advantage of being with your loved ones before they are no longer here, right? So next, we're going to talk about overcoming stress and anxiety financially. And yes, this is the last point, y'all, because I know this is a long video. First and foremost, I'm going to go over this very briefly because we already had a whole financial episode, and you can go and watch that as part of the 4Fs. And you can watch that with me and my boyfriend actually explain better ways to help your finances so that you don't be in debt and don't be broke. So go watch that. But I'm going to briefly go over it. Develop a solid financial plan. If you go in that episode, there are some plans that we have mentioned that will help with planning your finances and savings. A lot has to do with Excel. You could use some different AI tools. You could find all different things out there, right? Create a budget and stick to it. Once you say $20 from your check goes to the savings each and every week or every other week, keep doing that. Don't stop. Even if there's an emergency that comes up, it's a good thing you did save $20 and more each week. That kind of accumulated up, because now you can use that money for your expenses and your emergencies and things. So stick to your budget. Stick to it. Once you say you're going to do something, do it, right? Reduce debt and build up savings. Same thing. Save up your money. And the more money you save, the more you can start paying off the rest of your debt. If you are someone who's stuck in credit card debt, if you are someone who is stuck in loans from your school, like, find ways and alternatives to help you to lower the rating, right? And then next, of course, explore ways to increase your income. I always talk about having a business. I said it when I was doing the episode with Kennedy, my friend. Find a way to have a business or a side hustle. Even though it takes money to make money, you are going to be so happy that you took a risk on yourself by doing something you love and that you're educated in. and making it a high income thing for you. So just go find something to do. If you know you are good at doing hair, make it a business. Make you some money. It's a lot of girls out here who want their hair done, especially in Dallas. So if you're coming to Dallas, you're moving to Dallas, and you're really good at braids, I would love for you to come, because I can't find anyone that I trust. Because last person I went to, they stole $60 from me and never showed up. So yeah, I'm still pissed about that. But anyway, moving on. Whatever you're good at, make it into a job, make it into a career, make it into a side hustle. And I know you're like, oh, but then I'm not gonna love it anymore. You will love it when the Benjamins start coming through, okay? And that's gonna help you to be stressless, okay, and not have anxiety. Of course, seek financial guidance. My neighbor as well, she also goes to church with us. I believe she's a financial advisor, or she was. And I told myself in the summer, once I start getting just a little bit more money in my pocket, I'm going to go to her to help me to find like ways to, keep my finances rolling, paying off my debt, and still saving enough money so I can have enough to provide for myself as well as my loved ones. And so going to her, since she's a financial advisor, is probably going to help me with that. And I don't have to stress myself out trying to find out from YouTube University, right? But finding an advisor or a counselor who specializes in finances is really good. A lot of them are free. They don't require you to pay them to help you. And there's some of them you have to pay. Maybe they even take insurance. Look into it. Do your research. Educate yourself on personal finance types. Just like in the last episode where I told you there's different types of debt. Some people didn't know. They just thought debt was debt. There's different types of debt, and there's different types of relief from debt. And doing your own research, you will know that and know what kind of debt you're in so that you can find ways to relieve from that, right? And then, of course, explore resources and support services. If you're in school, you still have FAFSA until Trump decides to take it away. You have food stamps, even though people don't want to be on it because they're just so prideful. Listen, if you can be approved for food stamps, which is rare unless you're a mother, I say apply, get that money, and save the money in your pocket because groceries are high. Eggs are $9, y'all. I'm going to say that again. Eggs are $9. Okay? So find the government help. I know a lot of people have that pride where they're like, I don't want nothing from the government. You're a fool, because if they're going to give me some money so I can save money in my pocket, then I'm going to do that, because I'm not. It hurts my gut. It makes me sick to spend $9 on eggs. At this point, I'm going to go buy me the chicken myself. Okay? So, don't be a fool. Find some type of support somewhere. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And then, of course, cultivating a healthy relationship with money. Finding ways to have a healthy relationship. No, you should not be spending money on a new car when you still are $30,000 in debt on your credit card. No, you should not go and buy Mickey D's or Popeyes when you just went grocery shopping yesterday. You just went grocery shopping. Go and cook the food that you just spent your hard-earned money on instead of going and buy pizza at Pizza Hut and Papa John's. Like, no, that's not smart. That's not you having a healthy relationship with your finances. And I say that because I've experienced it too many times where I am tired of spending money. I'm tired of being a dumb spender, okay? So be a smart spender, okay? And then, of course, challenge negative beliefs about money. A lot of people believe that wealth is difficult to acquire. It's not. It's just about you being wise, honey. It's about you taking the necessary steps to learn how to have a healthy relationship with your money so that you can be wealthy. It's about, investing. It's about finding different things that you're good at and making it a business so that you can make money. For example, my boyfriend is making bank because he has his own rental car business. He risked buying a really nice, expensive car, and it's paying off on its own on Turo because he's making that bank, and because God is just really good. So take the risk on yourself. If you're good at it, make it into a business so that you can make some money. And then, of course, practice mindful spending and saving. If you're going in Target to get one thing, a lip gloss, because you ran out, there's no reason why you should be walking out with skincare, hair care, body care, all this other stuff. If that wasn't put on your list when you made it, then there's no reason why you should be getting additional things that you don't need to be buying, don't need to be spending money on. Find ways to reduce financial stress and anxiety. Whatever it is that's stresses you out when it comes to your finances, find ways to reroute yourself. Me, I get stressed out that I don't get paid enough with my company or the job that I work for. So ways to reroute myself is to find a job that pays better. Yes, I love the kids and I don't want to leave them and I want to be able to teach them for this program. But there are other jobs, people making more money doing what I'm doing in different companies. So going and finding a job that's willing to pay me will help me with my stress and my finances. Maybe yours is different. Whatever it is, find ways to go around that. Find ways to overcome the hurdles, because it's better to be wise than to be a fool. Because fools stress all day, every day, because they're always doing something foolish. They're always allowing themselves to be around foolish people, foolish things, and foolish ideas. We don't want to be that way. We don't want to be that way at all. We want to be wise stewards, and we want to be stressless, live a life of abundance. Abundance causes joy and happiness, and that's what we truly want. But the only way to do that is to be wise with our mental, our spiritual, our physical, and our financials. Okay? So, thank you guys for listening. I know this video was pretty long, just like my last video and my videos before, but I just would like to get all of the information I can to you guys before for some reason something happens and I can't give it to you guys. You know, things happen, life gets busy, who knows? So I just want to be able to give y'all this information, because there's some people who aren't aware of how to lower their stress levels, how to lower their anxiety levels. So hopefully this video was informative. Hopefully you guys were able to write down some of the ideas. Maybe you have to go back because maybe I went too fast. Whatever the case is, go ahead and like this video. Comment below some things that you might stress over or deal with in your anxiety. Maybe you've been diagnosed. What kind of anxiety do you have? Because I have general. We could just sit here and talk about it together. But don't hesitate to comment, because I will respond back to the comments. If you want to DM me because you want it on a personal level, you can do that. I'm not a celebrity yet, and even if I was, I would still respond. So DM me, text me, whatever the case is. If you want to be a guest on this podcast, remember that the list is long, and this month and this year don't have enough days of Fridays that I'm willing to do where I can fit all of y'all in. So please, please, please email us so that I can put you on the waiting list to be a guest on the podcast, because the list just gets longer and longer each day. Each week, I'm getting a new email or a new shout out or a new text message or a call from someone who wants to be a guest and who's trying to plan to be a guest. So if you know that you are one of those people, please, please, please email us. Our email is in our bio on our Instagram. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, like our pictures and our videos, interact with us, you guys, because we'll interact with you back. We don't mind doing a shout out for a shout out, or whatever the case is, we'll follow you. We are not bougie. And yeah, I love you guys. I hope that you love this video, and I will see you guys on the next episode, where we will have a very special guest, very dear to me, where we'll be talking about time management and how to overcome it. Bye, you guys.